is the second in my series of how to install Gitlab on Ubuntu 20.04 LTS. So yes, we did make a machine here, right here, this Ubuntu 20.04 LTS, and it's up and running. So now let's get to installing Gitlab on here. So I'm logged into that machine as root. And what's important is before you start installing GitLab, you want to have an FQDN figured out and an IP address. So in this case, the IP address of this machine is local inside my home network here on this IP here. So you want to get some kind of FQDN on a DNS server that matches that. So in my case, I just used gitlab.jeffreyfall, which is a FQDN that I pay for. I just added an A record for the GitLab. So that's all done. And so GitLab itself is not hard to install. GitLab's consisting of a Ruby on Rails install. So they start off here on Ubuntu, which I'm using. And this is how to install it. So let's get to it. They first say do a full update. So let's do that. So on the server here, we're going to run a full update. See how it goes. I think Ubuntu didn't update when I first installed it, so I don't think it'll do anything. But let's see. If anything is upgradable here. Yeah, a little bit. Looks like there's some stuff to put on here. So once this stuff's all put on here, I'm going to reboot it in case it has a new kernel. This usually happens when you're upgrading it. When you're installing it, it usually upgrades itself when you're installing, but I guess in this case it didn't do it. Looks like a new kernel went on here. Yep, init-rmfs, new kernel. So it's important to reboot when a new kernel goes on. Okay, that's all done. I'm going to reboot. And we'll get back on this thing and we'll start installing GitLab. There's the reboot. This is running on ESXi 6.7. Okay, it's all done. Let's log back into this thing. I have keys on this thing, so I log back in. Go back to root. And now let's put in some certs. Okay, that happened fast. Curl. That looks good. Okay, that's all done. Let's now put postfix in, which is the email send program. Copy this off and paste it. Okay, postfix, no configuration, internet site, gitlab.jeffreyfall. I guess I'll set this thing up as an MX server, so I'll just give it some A record here, and I'll make it later. All right, that does that. And it's important to note how to do this in case you change that. All right, we have postfix in. Now we're going to add in the repo for GitLab right here, and this will put our repo in. Well, that won't do it. There we go. Put the repo in. And repo's in. Okay, now in this part here, you got to be rather careful to get it right. So we have that in now. This we want to do correctly. So I'm going to copy this in without the last E because I hide a return in there. And I'm going to call this Gitlab at jeffreyfall.com. Okay, that works out. And since I don't have a cert, I'm going to take out the S. And that doesn't look too good. Looks like the EE got truncated. Okay, so let's review the command. External URL is going to be GitLab, jeffreyfall.com, and let's make sure that exists. So let's do a ping on that. That exists, and it's my local server, so that is what I expect. Okay, I think we're ready to go. We're root. Let's install it. It's doing some downloading here. Can probably track this around on the VM here to see how much usage we're getting here. CPU spiking up. Looks like it's pinned at 4 gigs of memory. Disk usage, not so bad. Network. Oh yeah, so we're pulling in some data here. It's really pulling in some data from the net, so. So all these chef cookbooks will be installed, which are part of the install process for GitLab. So if you work with GitLab, you better know Ruby on Rails, you better know Chef, because that's what makes it run. I'm thinking about putting Jenkins on this thing too, if I can do it on one server. That wouldn't be a production mode to do anything with, but for a demo, it might work. I think I got room for more VMs. I hope so. There's some VMs from my last project that I don't want to delete. Yeah, I got some VMs on here from my last project, which a NetApp CDOT, which I probably won't use again, but that CDOT filer is a simulator it's running. And there's a 7-mode filer, which I'm running here, which I used in a project, which is completed. Those were sort of hard to build. I don't want to get rid of them, but I may have to. Okay, we're still waiting on this thing to go. and be finished and start up. Looks like it does a lot of work here. It's funny how it kind of runs in bursts too. Looks like graphene is in here if we're doing some monitoring. So like any install, you want to kind of pay attention to what's going by on the screen. Look for red arrows that go by. So far, this is all green. Looks like it's restarting all of its IOR services here. Okay, and it says it's in. So that's reassuring, I suppose. Now I know there's a way to get a password out of this thing that we need for root. So let's see where that is located here. Yeah, you don't want to really get rid of this thing because there's some hints on how to log in. Anyway, let's see if it's working. So looks like we're running and they're offering us to log in. So let's copy this URL down. I'm going to use Firefox because Firefox will work without certs usually, and I'm not using certs. Chrome will say that this thing is having a problem and someone's trying to scramble the credentials and yada yada yada. Okay, here we go. So we did come up, and I got to put root in here, as I recall from when I got this thing running before. And now we got to get a password that's offered in etc somewhere. So let's try and figure out where that is. Reset the password. Okay, here it is. You didn't opt in to print the password std out. Okay, yeah, so we got to get the password here. So the password's on the server right there. Let's pull it out. And there's the password right there. So now we can paste it into here and log on as root to the Gitlab. Root and paste in the password. There it goes. So I guess I could save that. Why not? Okay, so now the first thing I want to do is make an account. I don't want to keep using root, so let's make an account. And this thing wants to actually mail you an invite, which is a real headache because my mail on this thing is probably not going to work. So let's try and make an account for myself here. New project, new user right here. Gonna put in myself as a user. And I'll use my usual little username there. I think I can use this email. Okay, that's in there. Password reset link will be generated and set to the user. That's fine. I want to be an admin. External users, okay. Validated. An avatar. My gosh, I need an avatar. LinkedIn account. I wonder what this is for. Stick my website in here. All right, that's it, Skype, Twitter. Create the user. So this thing I know now would have wanted to email me out, I think, and I do want to disable this if I go out into the open, out to the internet. I want to get rid of that. So I think I'm now logged in as myself. I'm still root here. Let's try and log into another instance of this thing. So I'm going to bring up Firefox in another instance, and I'm going to type in the same thing. And since it uses cookies in the same browser, I'm not going to get away with that. I'm still root. So I really can't get on here as Jeffrey without logging root out. Okay, so we'll log root out. Log out root. I'll come on as myself. My password I put in. Oh, I didn't put a password in. That's a problem. So go back on as root. I think this thing wants me to have an email coming, and then I verify it with the email and it works. And when you're hacking this thing for a demo, it's not the best way to do it. Let's see who I can get in now as root. Okay, there's root. I think the password's still cached in there. All right, so I'm back in this root. Can I set my password here? Menu, users, groups, admin. Okay, there we go, admin and users. Okay, so I really want to just put a password in for this guy here. Okay, keys. Ooh, let's put some keys in here. There are no keys. Okay. Can I impersonate myself? Let's do that. Poof. Okay, I'm now Jeffrey Fall, which is good. Can I change my project? Can I change my password now? Create a group, add people, configure. No. I want to put in my key. All right, that's not going to work. Let's see what this one does. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm now Jeffrey Fall, though. Yep, I am. Edit profile. Let's see if I can do some keys here. Profile, status, time settings. Let's go PST. All right, pronouns, email, public email, commit. Skype. Okay, I want to put keys in here. Current status, main settings, account. Here we go. All right, add a key. So it looks like I gotta type the thing in or cut and paste it. Okay, so there's a key. I want to put in a public key so I know where I have some of those around on a Raspberry Pi that I have here. Let's get the key out of the Pi. SSH Pi 1. Okay. Let's get the key out of here. That's a good public key that I've used before. I don't like really cutting and pasting a key. I don't know if it'll work. Let's try it. I'd rather make it one big long line if I can do that. So I'm going to make this window really long. And let's see if that's better. Not really. Well, I guess it'll use JavaScript and fix up the key. I'm hoping it'll do that. I'm hoping the developers will fix up this key to make it one long string out of three strings. So copying it like that, and I'm gonna plug it into here. There it is. I'll say pi1 key expires. I'm not gonna expire it. Add the key. Poof. All right, so it took my key. What else can we do here? All right, let's change my password. I don't have one, so I'm going to put in my new password here. I'm going to put in a new one. There's one. Let's see if I can just save it now. Poof. It wants a current password. I don't have one. So I wonder if it's still in for Jeffrey Fall for root. Not sure. But it's not going to let me do this. What if I go like that? Nope, not going to work. So for Jeffrey Fall, I have no password, and that's because this thing sends in mail. I wonder if I got any mail for it. Check my emails. And no. So the email, I'm sure, needs to be set up correctly with an email account and all that. It's not going to work. All right, well, that's about as far as I got. It looks like I set up Gitlab successfully. However, I want to get my user's password figured out, and then we can start making some projects. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.